The quaint town of Ravenshade was veiled in perpetual mist, where cobblestone streets twisted like serpents and ancient lampposts cast eerie shadows. Hidden within its labyrinthine alleys, the elusive Whispering Pages bookstore beckoned those with a taste for the unknown. Ilara, a wanderer with a penchant for the arcane, had heard whispers of a mystical bookstore that held volumes beyond imagination. Following the trail of rumors, she found herself standing before the unassuming facade of Whispering Pages. The door creaked open with an otherworldly invitation. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of old parchment. Shelves lined with forgotten tomes whispered secrets, and flickering candlelight danced across dusty spines. The shopkeeper, Mr. Thorne, an enigmatic figure with piercing eyes, greeted her with a cryptic smile. "I sense you're drawn to the forbidden," he murmured, his voice a low hum that resonated in the dimly lit room. He handed her a dusty leather-bound book, The Ephemeral Echoes. As Ilara traced her fingers over the embossed cover, a shiver ran down her spine. The pages seemed to breathe beneath her touch. Mr. Thorne's cautionary words lingered in the air, but the allure of the forbidden stories proved irresistible. Ilara retreated to a secluded corner, where an antique armchair embraced her with worn leather. As she opened the book, the room hushed into an anticipatory silence. The tales began innocently, weaving narratives of love, betrayal, and the supernatural. Yet with each turned page, the stories darkened and the air grew colder. Hours passed like fleeting shadows, and Ilara found herself entangled in the cursed narratives. The lines between reality and fiction blurred. The flickering candles cast grotesque shadows that danced along with the stories. Whispers echoed from the walls, as if the very bricks retained the secrets of the town's haunted past. The tale she found herself immersed in told of a forsaken love, a tragedy that unfolded in the dilapidated manor on the outskirts of Ravenshade. The spectral figures of doomed lovers emerged from the pages, casting a spectral waltz in the dim room. A chill ran down Ilara's spine as she witnessed the tragic romance unfold before her. The characters seemed aware of her presence, their hollow eyes pleading for release from the perpetual dance. Yet no matter how fast the pages turned, the outcome remained eternally grim. Disturbed, Ilara attempted to close the book, but an unseen force held it open. The tales resisted confinement, demanding to be heard. She felt a growing unease, a realization that the stories she read were not mere words on paper. They were entities, bound by a curse that tied them to the living. As the clock struck midnight, the room plunged into darkness. The only illumination came from the spectral glow emanating from the book. The characters, now free from the confines of fiction, moved closer to Ilara. Their voices merged into a haunting chorus that echoed through the now otherworldly bookstore. Panic set in as Ilara sought Mr. Thorne for guidance, but the shopkeeper was nowhere to be found. The door to Whispering Pages swung open, revealing an endless void beyond. The haunting chorus intensified, drawing Ilara towards the exit. She stepped into the void, and the world around her shifted. She found herself in the forsaken manor, surrounded by the ghostly echoes of the tragic lovers. The cursed waltz continued, trapping her in a nightmarish dance with the spectral figures. In desperation, Ilara tried to recite an incantation she had glimpsed within the book. The air crackled with a dark energy, and the characters faltered. The curse momentarily lifted, allowing Ilara to retreat. Back in the bookstore, the clock struck 1, and the echoes of the cursed tales withdrew into the ephemeral echoes. The room returned to its mundane facade, and the door to the void vanished. Ilara, clutching the book, stumbled into the mist-laden streets of Ravenshade. The tales had etched themselves onto her very soul. As she walked away from the mysterious bookstore, its doors closed behind her, and the town of Ravenshade seemed to exhale a collective sigh of relief. Whispering Pages waited patiently, ready to lure the next unsuspecting wanderer into the haunting embrace of the ephemeral echoes. And so, the cursed cycle continued, as stories both forbidden and eternal whispered through the ages, seeking solace in the unsuspecting hearts of those drawn to the unknown. In the quiet town of Hollowhaven, where the veil between the living and the dead was thin, there existed an antique shop known as Enigma Relics. Among its dusty shelves and ancient artifacts, there rested a doll with a malevolent secret. Its porcelain exterior concealed a spirit hungry for the fear of the living. Emma, a collector of the macabre, wandered into Enigma Relics one fateful afternoon. The tiny bell above the door jingled as she entered, and the air grew thick with a subtle tension. Mr. Ashcroft, the elderly shopkeeper, eyed Emma knowingly, as if aware that she had an affinity for the eerie. The doll, with golden curls and vacant eyes, sat on a velvet cushion, seemingly innocent amidst the eclectic assortment of oddities. Emma felt an inexplicable pull toward it, an otherworldly force that whispered forgotten secrets into her subconscious. "Ah, the Whispering Maiden," Mr. Ashcroft rasped, revealing a toothy grin that held shadows of untold stories. "A doll that hungers for the secrets of the living. Are you brave enough to be its custodian?" Emma, enticed by the prospect of the supernatural, nodded in agreement. Little did she know that the Whispering Maiden, with its delicate porcelain fingers, would grasp her life in a relentless hold. As night fell over Hollowhaven, Emma placed the doll on a prominent shelf in her dimly lit living room. The air seemed to thicken as the doll's once lifeless eyes gained an eerie luminosity. The room echoed with a chilling laughter, almost imperceptible, as if the doll reveled in the fear it could sense. The first night passed without incident, but as the clock struck midnight, Emma awoke to a soft, haunting melody. She followed the sound to the living room, where the Whispering Maiden sat on the floor, its tiny hands moving across an invisible piano. Fear clawed at Emma's throat as she witnessed the spectral performance. The doll's porcelain lips parted, and a disembodied voice sang a mournful tune that spoke of forgotten tragedies and unfulfilled desires. Emma, paralyzed by the otherworldly sight, became aware that the Whispering Maiden sought solace in her deepest fears. Days turned into nights, and Emma's once vibrant spirit began to wither. Dark circles adorned her sleepless eyes, and the lines on her face etched a map of profound dread. The doll, now a constant presence in her nightmares, whispered secrets that only Emma could comprehend. Desperation took hold as Emma sought answers from local occultists and paranormal experts, but the curse of the Whispering Maiden proved elusive. In her waking hours, the doll would sit innocently on the shelf, concealing its insidious nature. However, as night fell, the haunting melody would resume, accompanied by the chilling laughter that echoed through the hollow corridors of Emma's mind. In her most lucid moments, Emma believed that freeing herself from the Whispering Maiden required a sacrifice. She embarked on a journey through the town's history, unearthing tales of tragedy and heartache. The doll, it seemed, thrived on the anguish of lost souls. One stormy night, armed with the knowledge she had gleaned, Emma conducted a ritual to sever the spectral bond. Lightning flashed, and the room plunged into darkness. As the final incantation escaped her trembling lips, the Whispering Maiden convulsed, its porcelain facade contorting with agony. A vortex of ethereal energy engulfed Emma, and she felt the weight of her fears being wrenched away. The doll's haunting melody transformed into a guttural scream, echoing through the walls of Enigma Relics and dissipating into the stormy night. As the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon, Emma found herself standing in the now silent living room. The Whispering Maiden, stripped of its malevolence, sat motionless on the shelf. The air, once oppressive, now carried a sense of liberation. Emma, though marked by the ordeal, felt a newfound strength. As she exited Enigma Relics, the tiny bell above the door jingled as if bidding her farewell. She left behind the haunted doll, its once luminous eyes now dull and lifeless. Hollowhaven, a town steeped in the supernatural, held its secrets close. The Whispering Maiden, its curse broken, remained a silent witness to the ebb and flow of the town's eerie tales. Emma, having confronted the darkness within and around her, walked away with a story that would forever bind her to the haunted history of Hollowhaven. The town of Hollowbrook existed on the fringes of reality, a place whispered about in hushed tones by those who believed in the supernatural. Legends spoke of its mysterious appearance and equally enigmatic disappearances. Few dared to venture near it, and even fewer emerged with tales to tell. One gloomy evening, Olivia, a travel blogger with an insatiable curiosity for the unusual, stumbled upon the town while chasing an ambiguous lead. The road leading to Hollowbrook seemed to appear out of nowhere, winding through dense woods that loomed like sentinels of the unknown. As Olivia entered the town, an unsettling quiet settled over the deserted streets. The dim light from flickering lampposts created eerie patterns on cobblestone paths. The buildings, though in a state of decay, retained an otherworldly charm, with ivy-covered facades and arched doorways that seemed to lead into the secrets of another realm. Her footsteps echoed through the silent town, reverberating against buildings that bore witness to a history lost in time. She noticed a weathered sign at the town's entrance, its words barely legible. "Welcome to Hollowbrook, where shadows dance." Drawn by an unseen force, Olivia ventured further, her camera capturing the desolate beauty that lay beneath the town's melancholic exterior. Yet with each step, the air grew thicker, laden with a sense of foreboding. As she reached the town square, a haunting melody drifted through the stillness. Olivia followed the ethereal music, leading her to an abandoned carousel, bathed in the ghostly glow of moonlight. The carousel, though covered in a shroud of cobwebs, seemed alive with spectral figures twirling to the haunting tune. Spellbound, Olivia watched as the apparitions danced with a melancholic grace. Their faces held an expression of both sorrow and yearning. The music swelled, wrapping around her like a spectral embrace, and in that moment, she felt a connection to something beyond comprehension. With each passing second, the spectral dance became more intense, and the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred. Olivia found herself entwined in the dance, her movements synchronized with the ghostly figures. The carousel spun faster, and the town square transformed into a surreal ballroom where the living and the departed waltzed in unison. Suddenly, the music ceased, and the apparitions dispersed like mist in the wind. The carousel stood still, its spectral dancers vanishing into the shadows. Olivia, left disoriented and breathless, surveyed the now desolate town square. As she retraced her steps, she noticed something amiss. The once decaying buildings had crumbled further, and the ivy that adorned them now seemed to writhe with a life of its own. Panic set in as Olivia realized that the town was changing, its spectral charm fading away. Desperation gripped her, and she sprinted through the narrowing streets, each step echoing her fear. Hollowbrook, it seemed, was retreating back into the shadows, erasing its existence from the world. Olivia's surroundings distorted, buildings melting into an otherworldly haze. In a final surge of adrenaline, she reached the town's edge just as it vanished completely, leaving behind an empty stretch of woods. Olivia stood alone in the silence, the only evidence of Hollowbrook's existence imprinted on her camera. As she reviewed the footage, Olivia questioned her sanity. The spectral dance, the haunted carousel, the vanishing town, it all seemed like a fevered dream. She pondered whether she had glimpsed a reality beyond comprehension, or if the town had chosen to reveal itself to her and her alone. Days turned into nights, but Olivia remained haunted by the memory of Hollowbrook. The footage, though ethereal and surreal, was her only tether to a place that defied explanation. She pondered the nature of that mysterious town, wondering if it was a place lost to time, a pocket dimension, or a mere illusion. In the dark corners of her room, Olivia sometimes heard echoes of that haunting melody. The ivy seemed to writhe in response to an unseen force, and when she closed her eyes, she could almost feel the spectral dance, a waltz that transcended the boundaries of the known and the supernatural. Hollowbrook, though gone from the world, lived on in Olivia's memories. The town that existed on the fringes of reality had chosen her as its witness, leaving her to grapple with the question of whether some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, existing only in the hushed whispers of those who dare to seek the unknown.